Hey guys, how's it going? This is Mr. Case with day 4 of the math work for 4th grade in the NTI packets. And this is going to be something a little bit newer for the students. It's working with a protractor. So, thank God for Machine Chain. She added a nice little note page. Should look like this. Now using Protractor, since you guys are new to this, can look very confusing, can be very frustrating at first, but I believe once we get the hang of it, we should be good to go. Alright, so I'm going to go over how to use a protractor, and then I'm going to let you guys, since this is new content, try your best on the work, and obviously we can do video conference to go over it and see how you guys did. I think you guys did pretty well though. So, let me draw a protractor, and then I'm going to give a little tip with it too. So, most of your protractors will look like this. Well, not as horribly disgusting as what I can draw. Close enough though. So in the middle of your protractor, you'll notice a little dot right there. That's kind of going to be where you're going to start your measurement from. And if you notice, in the middle of your protractor is the number 90. So anything on a protractor is going to be measured in degrees, because we're talking about angles. So that's what the protractor is used for, is to measure angles. So 90 is always going to be in the middle. We call that a right angle. So if I was measuring from the bottom here, and I was to go straight up, it's like if I was measuring a line that probably looks like this, we're going to say that's a straight line, cutting some slack. I'm going to take my circle there on my protractor. I'm going to go right where the two lines meet. Then I'm going to look at it, and that's going to tell me if it is 90 degrees or not. For the sake of this video, we're going to say this is 90 degrees. Now, some of the lines it's going to ask you to measure may look like this. Some of them may look like this. Now, once again, you still just take your little circle there and put it right where the two lines meet. So you do that, and then that's going to measure out. Now, as some of you probably will notice on your protractors that Machine Chain has provided to you, there are two sets of numbers. There's a number on the bottom, right here, and there's going to be a number right there. Here is the rule of thumb for when measuring out those angles, not to get confused by those two numbers. So, if the arrows on the line, so let's go with our first line we had there. See how the arrows are going the same way? That is below 90 degrees. So you'll look at your protractor. So if I was to measure with this protractor I got here, I'm probably going to end up here. It might show me two numbers. It could be like 20 degrees and 160 degrees. This angle would measure out to 20 degrees because the arrows are going the same way. So it's going to be below 90 when the arrows are going the same way. Now let's talk about that other line I had on there. How about when the arrows are going in separate directions? Those arrows are going in separate directions, and I use this to measure it again. Let's say for this one I've got 130 degrees and 50 degrees. Which one do you think it's going to be? Well, if the arrows are going separate, it means it's greater than 90 degrees. So you're going to go with the 130 degrees because that's more than 90. Now, that is for measuring. Now, some of that work's going to ask you to sketch some angles. So we'll do the first one together, and that is the 68 degrees. So I get my protractor here. Let's say, this could be a bad example, but I measure it out, start from a circle, come up, 68 degrees is about right here. Here's your rule of thumb. Now, you might notice, well, okay, I'm going to measure it this way, though. And we'll go over that in a second, actually. I'm getting ahead of myself. So, if I measure 68 degrees here, if it's below 90 degrees, whichever way that line goes, your bottom line is going to go the same way. So it would be like that. Now, I can hear some of you at home going, well, Mr. Case, there's 68 degrees over here, too. Well, that's fine. If you want to use that 68 degrees, guess what? If you use this 68 degrees, guess what? If your arrow is going that way and it's below 90, your line and your arrow are going to follow it. It's going to go the same way on that side of the protractor. If it's below 90. So, now let's talk about if it's over 90. So remember, when we were measuring those angles, if the bottom line was going this way, you'll be able to tell because the arrow is pointing that way, and our other arrow is going this way and it's pointing that way. It's over 90 degrees. So if I'm looking at my protractor and I say I measure out, let's see what's a good number. Let's say 100 degrees. So 100 degrees is going to be slightly past 90. Let's say I measure it this way. If it's over 90, my arrow is going to go away from my other line. Now, once again, you're going to see the number 100 on the other side of that too. Well, guess what? If I measure out the 100 on this side of the protractor, then my line is going to stretch out that way. Then when I put my arrows should be away from each other. All right, I hope that makes sense. Now there's only one last one, and that would be 90 degrees, that right angle, which is right in the middle. Now here's the rule for this one. If I'm doing 90 degrees, since there's only one 90 on the protractor, I usually just draw my line to the right because we call that a right angle. You don't have to though. It doesn't matter. You could draw your line this way. You could draw your line this way because it's in the middle. Doesn't really matter which way it goes. So that's how it's kind of a 101 on the protractor. And obviously if you are doing day 4, one side of the paper is going to look like this. You're going to measure the angles, then you're going to sketch them. And also part of day 4, you have 3 different ones you need to measure. You got 2 at the bottom you're going to sketch. That's how I use protractors. Like I said, I think once you guys start using it a little bit more, it will make a lot more sense. Don't let, I know sometimes all those numbers on there can be confusing, can get you frustrated, but just remember, under 90, the arrows are going to go towards the same way. If it's over 90, they're going to go away from each other. And if it's 90 degrees, guess what? It's just going to make an L or either or. You can go either way with it, but it's in the middle. Alright, I hope you guys found that video helpful for day 4 of the NTI packets for math. This is Mr. Case, the 3rd and 4th grade special education teacher over at Lincoln Elementary. Hopefully everybody's staying safe, everybody's getting this work done, we're still learning, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks.